15 and you're the number one in the country in short track skating. But yet you go to the 98 Olympic trials and you come in last.
You know, the first year that I was training in New York, at the end of the season, which was about 6-7 months later, I tried out for the senior world team, so the actual world team, and I won. I beat everybody. I beat all the guys who were older than me. I beat all the veterans. I beat guys who have been on the team more than 15 years, and I was only 14 years old, you know. And following that season, I didn't know that I was supposed to train. I didn't know that I was supposed to stay fit. I was probably still going through puberty at the time, so my hormones were going crazy. I was eating like a horse. I arrived back into the training regimen about 4 or 5 months later, after winning the trials, being overweight, which I didn't even know there was such a thing as being overweight at that age, you know, and being in sports, being heavy, being kind of, you know, my focus wasn't really. I
heard they called you chunky.
They did call me chunky. It wasn't from that though. It was from previous.
Oh, okay.
I sure lived it up at the time, and I definitely filled out my skin suit. But needless to say, that season, more importantly, my heart and my desire wasn't there. You know, physically, even though being heavy, even though I didn't have the training, you know, I still had the tools. I had this gift. I had this talent. But it was here, and it was in here that was really missing, you know, the piece of the puzzle. About 2 weeks before Olympic trials, I had already known in my heart, I was like, you know, I'm not going to make the team. I almost admitted defeat. And I went from first place to being last place at trials in less than a year. And it was then that I had to realize, you know, why am I doing this? Why did I just waste that year? Why did I waste that season? I'm kind of throwing it away. I mean, there's millions of kids out there who would do anything to have a chance to be the best at a sport or to go and participate in an Olympic Games for the country. And I was kind of throwing it away, you know.
I understand, not far away from this time, your father then says, you need to figure it out. So your father takes you to Iron Springs,
Yep.
place that the two of you used to go to quite a bit.
Very remote area.
Down by the ocean.
Pacific Ocean. And he said, you know what, Apollo, you need to spend basically some alone time here with yourself, asking yourself these important questions, you know. What do you want to do with this sport? Is this something you truly want to dedicate yourself towards? If not, then you have to say, I'm done. You know, I'm going to move on, do something else. But if you are going to say, you know what, I do like this sport and I'm going to dedicate myself, there can't be a second guess. There can't be a second question. There has to be total dedication. And I think he's lived his life that way. And, you know, my father's Japanese. And I think traditionally Asians in general believe in 100% dedication to a sole object or a sole purpose. And he believes in that heavily. And he tried to instill those principles in me. And it didn't occur until basically my 8th day training there at the Iron Springs Resort.
And you were by yourself. He
By
left you
myself.
there with provisions and just said, how old were you?
I was about 15.
Okay, just
15.
left you there. Figure it
Left
out.
me there. There's no TV. There's actually no phone in each room. There's a phone, you know, a payphone down the street. So you have to walk to the payphone. It's just you, the cabin, and the ocean.
And it's
The
January,
nature.
so it's probably
January.
raining
So it's rained
and
every single day.
windy and cold.
It rained every single day. It was windy. It was cold. I was miserable for the first 5-6 days I was there because I was still training, kind of mindlessly training, trying to stay in shape, not really knowing if I was going to keep competing or not. And I remember I only brought one pair of running shoes, and these running shoes were beat up anyway. There was no cushioning. They were hard. I was getting blisters. I was always soaking wet when I came back from these runs. And this one run, the turning point was, I think, on the 8th day, where I went on this long run. It was supposed to be, I think, like an hour or 2-hour run. And I was just, you know, I didn't have any iPod. Back then I didn't have any music. It was just, you just listen to yourself breathe, and you listen to the sounds of being outside in the wilderness almost. And you have to remember, this place was, somebody told me that this area is where they send like witness protection people. Okay, so like there's nothing there. I mean, there's really nothing there, and that's the beauty of it too. It's so remote, but being 15, I can't. It's very hard for me to appreciate that. I want to go play video games or something. And I'm running. It's pouring down rain. I was tired. I was still out of shape. I was overweight, uncomfortable. Didn't want to be there. I was alone. Been asking myself all these questions every single day, and I just got to a point. I said, So I stopped running, and on the side of the road, I just remember that as a landmark, there was a rock or like a large boulder. It's very pretty vague, but I basically sat down, kneeled down, sat on it, and just started asking myself questions. Why am I running? Why? Why am I here? And what choices do I have in my life that I can, that are set before me? Is this something that should I really pursue? And I prayed. I said, what? If this is supposed to be my path, please give me the strength to keep running. Please give me the mental strength to do what I need to do. And it was then that I realized the fork in the road went two ways. It basically said, what? If I was going to keep skating, I was going to keep running up that road. I didn't know where it led to. Or I was going to turn around and go back to the cabin. And I got up. It was still raining. It was cold. It was dark. And I kept running. And, I finished up that running session. I came back to the cabin, ran right to the payphone, called my dad and said, Dad, I think I'm ready. I made my decision. I know what I want to do. And he asked me, what do you want? What do you want to do? I said, I want to skate. I want to try out one more time for the world team. And I think about 2 months later, I tried out for the world team, and I made the last spot. Number 6 I was. And if I had not made that team, I probably would not be skating today. But I barely made that spot. And here we are today.